Hey folks, it's Nick, and it's time to cook! I've decided to bring you back online. I'm doing some cooking vlogs, well, trying to. A lot of these are my recipes, in fact all of them are my recipes. To the exception of maybe 2 or 3 that were given to me by my mother. But this one's an experiment that I tried before doing this 1 to 2 days ago, and it tasted delicious, to the exception of certain changes in ingredients. You'll need the following. You'll need chicken. I've got 1 chicken breast, boneless, skinless. You can do it on the bone, but you'll have to actually boil your chicken or take it off the bone. You'll need your knives, your cutting board, and you'll need a strainer for the fruit ingredient of choice, because they're in season and cheap. A tuna and a carton clementines. So this recipe is actually going to be called "Oh My Clementine!" for the reason that you're going to be adding a habanero pepper to spice up the mix. Now, with that, you'll also need, I'm using anise, a whole anise. I'm using 1 Vidalia onion. Actually, this is a sweet onion, pardon me. And 2 Italian pasta spinach nests. All they are is that they're pasta formed into a small nest-like shape. And you just boil them. I use them instead of stir-fry noodles. It's more nutritious, also a bit better on the cholesterol levels. But get that together and let's cook. But the first thing I'm going to prepare, as usual, is going to be this. And you're going to be putting it inside the bowl. They're dying. I've pre-sharpened my knives, and when they're not, as you can see, it's wrinkly. It's losing its turgidity. Unfortunately, due to it dying a slow dehydrating death in my fridge. These peppers are better if you can get them. Oh dear God. These peppers are better if you can get them. Oh dear God, I thought I had killed the baby pepper inside. Anyways, if you can get them fresh. They're usually not fresh anyways by the time you actually get them. And you see these seeds. If you want them very hot, keep the seeds in. That's what actually boosts the spice level of it. But trust me on this, you don't want to. The Sauvignon, if I could get red Sauvignon in my area, I would, because red Sauvignon is so much better, even better with gold Scotch bonnets, or any Scotch bonnets. So I'm going to slice them into pieces, so I can actually slice them into smaller bits or chunks, very fine. They're going to be difficult to cut. Remember, when handling peppers, don't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose, and don't touch any naughty bits unless you've actually washed your hands. Although who the hell actually touches anybody's naughty bits, including theirs, while they're cooking? I'll never know, and I hope I never do know. They're going to be nice, visible chunks. Now you can do this the hard way, which is the way I'm doing it right now, or you can do it the easy way, where you can just slice them to bits and pieces. And the reason why I want them like this is because they're going to be used in a sauce composed mostly these babies. And I'm going to do this now. Now, to cut these properly, there is a proper way. You see where the navel is? Turn it sideways and you cut along the length so you can actually cut it round. Otherwise, if you do it from like this, you end up with an oval looking thing that doesn't squeeze well with this. And even this is kind of killing a mosquito with a cannon. I don't have a juicer specifically for these guys. But look at the color. Look at the color. Look at the flavors that are going to be coming out of it. Trust me on this. it's going to be delicious. Now you'll also need the flour of your choice to thicken your sauce, because you're going to make a sauce that's going to be cooking with the chicken. I've got 2 pots specifically for that, or 2 pans. One stir fry for my noodles, even if it's only 2 egg nests, and the other one for my chicken. Chicken, egg nests, and the battery's starting to die on this little thing, so if I lose you, I'll try to reclaim you quickly. Now what you do is you actually squeeze, try not to drop anything, squeeze your oranges, and these guys are messy. That's the fun thing. They're easy, they're fun to peel, they're delicious to eat, and you can quarter them too and add them in the sauce if you want. I'm not planning to, I'm just planning on using the actual juiced pulp of the orange. This is why it's like killing a mosquito with a cannon. You go right through the friggin' Clementine. So, you keep on juicing until now you can juice other things to go along with it. If you're an avid fruit man or woman, you might want to put in some pomegranates with the seeds to actually go along with it. It'll add a nice crunch to it. Although I'm planning on trying that with a steak recipe that I've been thinking up to use for the past 6 months. And I've always been putting it aside. And I've got a ceramic floor, so I'm going to have to clean this because I'm dripping some juice down on the floor. And on my counter. Yay. This is the bad thing about using this. It's sticky. But it's oh so delicious. Now I might be adding some blue agave syrup, because when this cooks, it tends to lose its fruit sweetness. Not much, but a little bit is lost. But it's just to complement it and give it some extra texture, if you will, in regards to keeping a thick sauce. Oh, there's nothing better. Winter time is going to be a busier time for me to cook, because I'll be wanting comfort foods or foods that actually keep me warm. And the funny thing is that my appetite decreases for supper during winter, because the lack of light doesn't give me as much appetite. Since I'm not planning on doing anything much, I also like to invest time in gaming on PS3. Right now I'm playing War of the North, and got Mitch, who actually purchased me the New Vegas and Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which I'm having fun trying to get better at. It's not working, trust me on that. And this you put aside because you're going to be working on it later. The onion. You shall peel the onion, or at least, well, peel the onion. Remove the outer layer, like so. And these guys, it doesn't matter if you actually, for onions, it doesn't matter how you want it. It's your choice in regards to the slice, the cut, the size. I always cut it in the middle, and then I cut them pretty much the same dimensions to have nice long onion slices to actually go into my stir fry with the chicken. You add your chicken in first, please. And when the chicken is halfway cooked, you'll see in a moment that you actually add in the onions. And there's that. Now that's that. And this you can put in top here, it doesn't really matter. And now here comes the anise. Now I'm planning on using the whole thing this time because I'm making extra for my lunch. There's not going to be a lot of protein, but there's going to be a lot of veg. And I was planning on making it with rice. Unfortunately, I forgot to check to see if I've got brown rice, and I have no rice, no instant rice, no nothing. Always wash it before using it. As I've said before, anise comes from the celery family, but it tastes like black licorice. And it's an underused... this is not the proper knife for this particular type of job. And this is for a meat knife, it's not my chopping knife, but it'll do for now. I cut off the tops. You can use these if you want. I'm not the type of guy who uses them. I tend to actually... And the wafting smell of black licorice. And this isn't too bad. You don't need to worry about it, but I cut the bottom. And look at this. Look at this. You can use it in soups, stews. Actually, stews I'm not too sure about, but soups, to flavor soups. You can also use it in garbage on the floor. You can also use it for pretty much anything that you want. It goes well with fish. It goes well in the salad, although some people find it overpowering, so if you do use it, you use it as an extra garnish of sorts. There we go. And it's chock full of taste. Now, you don't need to add too much salt to this because I'm going to be using some soy sauce when I throw everything together into the wok. That's with the noodles ready, which I have to boil the noodles. Now, here comes the fun bit. I forgot to take a cutting board specifically for my chicken, so I'm going to have to use a cutting board aside. Take these guys and move it over here. Take my peanut butter and move it out of the area. If you're allergic, well, you don't want to actually worry about it. The chicken, you're all aware of how to slice. I always rinse it, especially if it's thawed, because it takes care of the blood on the outside. So you get less of that white curdling mass when it cooks due to the protein change in the actual blood. Heat changes the protein molecule to a solid. So you slice it into small, fast fry chunks. Now be careful when you're doing it this way. The chicken will dry out fast because it will be quicker to cook. So you want to cook it. You want to cook it so that when you're stirring it in the actual pan, your chicken has half and half pink and half cooked. Pretty much. It's going to be a judge thing depending on how you want to do it. And besides, because you're going to be throwing sauce into it, you're going to then let it simmer down to actually make it tasty. If you were doing this ahead of time, you can easily marinate it in the juice. Add some Worcestershire. Don't ask me to say that 10 times fast, I just can't. Or you can do it the Eddie Murphy way and say, Worcestershire Society! Or Worcestershire! Or Worcester? I hope Scott actually gets this. I don't know if he's gonna actually... Scott Kim Martin, you guys know him? You don't? Well, his channel is always free for people. The guy's nice. So anyways, with that, that's the prep time of the cooking. Now we'll get to the actual sauce prep and the rest of it in a few moments. But I'll change the battery because I'm about to lose you. Okay, I got a new battery. Let's hope that this one lasts. You'll need your sauce. I'm going to use a little bit of agave syrup, blue agave, which by the way is twice as potent as sugar, but doesn't go straight into your bloodstream and goes into fat. It actually stays in your blood. Okay, this is arrowroot flour. You can use anything that you want, but I'm using arrowroot. Now you'll want to use the half a teaspoon, and you'll want to mix it while you're actually pouring it because otherwise it'll clump. And do not put it into any hot mixtures. When you're using flour, if you put it into hot mixtures, it will make lumps. Trust me on this, it will make lumps. And this one I'm going to not measure it. I'm just going to put a little bit. Don't need a lot. I'm just going to drizzle it because this is already sweet. But it's just to add a little bit of taste. About a quarter teaspoon, which would be the equivalent of quite a lot in sugar. And you let it set. I always put my things away when I can, so I don't forget where I put them. And for God's sakes, if you're a cook, do not let anyone mess your kitchen. Okay? Take that from me. Next bit is going to be cooking the meat. Okay, you're going to need some sea salt. That seems like a lot, but trust me, it isn't. And a little bit of black pepper, which I put on the other side. Why black pepper? It just gives it a little bit more taste. You're going to heat the pan. I'm going to take out my soy sauce because I got it for my noodles and I need to start boiling my noodles. Now, bear in mind the sauce, whatever you do, do not mistake flour or arrowroot powder for soda. Why? Because baking soda reacts how with acid? It's not explosive with orange or citrus fruits. I can tell you that by experience because the previous batch that I tried, I messed it up by actually using half a teaspoon of soda. It was salty as sin, so I had to readjust it with a little bit of the agave and one more additional orange to avoid, or not orange, but one more additional Clementine. Okay, there's something I'm missing. Oh yes. Just enough to soften these babies because that you don't want to overcook your nests. These poor little nests who never had birds in them before will be destroyed and made into semi-lengthwise noodles that'll actually be tasty mixed in with the rest. They're spinach, so I'm actually using vegetable groups here. Okay, this is getting warm enough. And if you go like this, and it's sizzling, now's the time to throw in your chicken. You need a spatula to spin these babies around. which I have right here. A bit of salt in my water for my pasta. I'm going to throw in my onion with the pulp and see what kind of result it's going to do. Remember, one of the things about cooking that actually makes it enjoyable for anyone is actually cooking in friends, family, or cooking for one's enjoyment but not pigging out. It's fun. It actually allows you to be creative. You can throw anything that you want. You can throw cheese into it. You could throw, well, I wouldn't throw cheese into this, but you can use ingredients that you think you could never use. Dragon fruit, for example. Persimmons, kumquats, peaches, dates, you name it, you can probably use it if it's a fruit, if it's got a sweet taste or an acid taste in regards to being bitter. As you can see, it's cooking along nicely. And once you start seeing a translucency to the onion, you can see the chicken is still pink. You don't want to eat pink chicken; you'll get sick off of it. But here's where you take everything. This is going to be added into the stir fry at the very last because you want it crunchy. Actually, I'll put it here. You want some crunch into your flavor. Don't let it cook for more than 7 minutes because you'll overcook your pasta, because don't forget, you're going to be throwing it in here with that guy. Okay, well, this is about ready to actually do this with. You stir it again so you can have it pretty much as a sauce. And then watch it thicken. Slowly but surely. You stir it all around because you'll want it to cook. You leave it on high heat and you let it simmer down with the ingredients in. I may have overcooked my onions, but that's okay. Make sure, the important thing is that you make sure that your meat is well and good coated, because trust me on this, delish. I'm gonna let yeah, they're coming along nicely. I'm going to start heating my oil for my wok. Oh, I love the smell of simmering and cooking and slicing and dicing. The sounds of it, actually. You can just comfy yourself with that. One thing that you can try is doing it on an actual open fire. You need some old pots and pans, cast iron preferably, to actually help you with it. And my oil isn't up to snuff yet. See, this is the thickening that I was talking to you about. It's less, you can add more for thicker sauces. You can actually make gravies with a lot of the flours that you use. If you're cooking beef, steak, chicken, pork, and you want to make a gravy out of the fat drippings, you just add it into a pan. Et voila! And these are ready to be used. Just scoop them out. And I want some soy sauce. And I'm sorry, I'm distracting you with other things. Here's the action. And you want to stir them, because if you don't stir them, they'll cook like there's no tomorrow. This is ready. And in here, to avoid catastrophe, you'll want to, whoops, I'm running out of space. You'll want to stir it around quick enough so that your noodles get covered with some of the sauce. I can smell the pepper. I have a feeling that I'm going to burn my tongue on this one. I may have overdone it with the friggin' habanero. Okay, this is consomme. Put it aside the fire because you don't want it to overcook. And I'll go get a plate, or a bowl, actually. Literally. I'm planning on having this as leftovers. This is a pitiful way to actually serve the meal, but so be it. I'm less hungry tonight than I was normally, and it's not lack of appetite, it's just that I've got other things on my plate, literally. And this is going to be the leftover for my meal for tomorrow. Here comes the moment of truth. Whoops! Wrong truth. I'll turn you to the wall over there, and hopefully I'm not going to be too high, too low. So we'll find out. Time to taste. I'm just going to try some chicken, because the rest I know is going to taste delicious. And I forgot my anise. Oh well. I'll throw it in. You can taste the spice. So anyways, I hope that you'll try it, and I hope that you'll invite friends to actually try it. But this was another episode with Cooking with Jan. Until next, have a nice one. Okay, I'm gonna film this because I forgot to throw in my anise, and I told you guys I forgot, so you'll have a link that should have led you here to actually do it. It's quick. You just need to use one of your pans. Some salt, some oil, and the reason why you're seeing liquid, it's not because of the anise, it's because this was the original pan where we cooked the meat, you remember, and it was starting to not congeal but burn. The sugars were burning, so I decided I'll use it to the advantage. So I took a small glass of water, and I do mean a little bit, just enough to actually take what was at the bottom and actually throw it with the anise. And I'm going to be adding this to my plate and adding the rest to this so that I can have a delicious lunch tomorrow. And I just want it with enough crunch, and this is way too crunchy. But it's similar to cooking onion or celery. You'll see it change in consistency. Or in color. There we go. Some are crunchier than others. If you can actually cut them with your wooden spoon, that means it's done. And that's it. Have fun.